Georgia's governor sues the city Atlanta over its face mask requirement. Fox Eye legal analyst Wendy Patrick joining us now to explain. Wendy, good morning.
Good morning, Shelley.
I was listening to the mayor of Atlanta responding, and Mayor Lance Bottoms was shocked, saying, "How am I being sued for trying to protect people?"
That's right, Shelley. This is a big fight that's being watched by so many other states because it could happen anywhere. So the mayor of Atlanta says, no shoes, no shirt, no mask, no service. The governor of Georgia says, no mask, no problem. What do you do if you are a citizen living in Atlanta? And by the way, Shelley, it's not just Atlanta. The mayor of Savannah, there are other cities as well, are basically saying the same thing. We're in phase 2. We are reopening, and now we're going to go back to phase 1 because of health concerns. The governor says, no, you're still in phase 2. Can you imagine living in a jurisdiction with that kind of inconsistency? So the citizens are wondering, who's in charge? Who do we have to obey? What are the rules? Now, one of the other things complicating this lawsuit, and you're correct, the governor is suing the city. One of the things that complicates that is the governor's original order wasn't the kind of mandate that we had in California, that other states had as well. The order strongly encouraged mask wearing. So what in the world does that mean? That's like saying, we strongly encourage you don't speed or you wear your seatbelts. We have laws or we don't. And that's part of the confusion in a state like Georgia where words matter. And if there are mandates, if there are governmental orders, people have to be able to understand them. So when this case goes to court, remember the attorney general is on the side of the governor saying, we cannot have cities making laws different than we make as a state. That's going to be also watched by other states because it's not the only state. It's true they're next to Florida, which is currently the nation's hotspot. But there are lots of states where individual jurisdictions are saying, hey, we don't have that many cases in this town, so why can't our businesses reopen? Or the opposite.
Wendy, one of the issues that we've all been dealing with this pandemic is that there's so many people that are just so confused. The governor says one thing, the mayor says something, the politicians say something, the doctors say something.
And the president says something else.
And the president says something else. You're absolutely correct. So it creates this sense of confusion. The masks have been a target of this. Do you wear them? Do you not wear them? Should you wear them? Are you mandated to wear them? Will you be fined if you wear them? Do you see how that is creating such an issue rather than blanket say, you know what? Everybody put it on. Everybody has to wear them. So what do you do in the middle of this as they're trying to figure out the legality of whether they can mandate this or not? As a person just watching all of this.
Well, most people agree that the sooner we're able to stamp out the virus, the better. And waiting for a vaccine is not a workable solution because the economy needs to open now. So many people are deciding to wear a face covering. Remember, what is a mask? We could do a whole segment on that. Many people are opting for different things, but they are bringing them with them and wearing them in public so that we don't get into that kind of a disagreement, that argument. But whether or not it's enforceable if you don't, sadly, Shelley, here's what we've seen. If it's not a law, or sometimes even if it is, we see shop owners being in the position of being the police because law enforcement agencies are saying we have to allocate our resources to fighting crime, not to figure out who is and isn't wearing a mask. So these poor shop owners are saying if you don't make it a law or if you don't enforce the law, remember that's the other issue that the mayors in Georgia are making. If our law enforcement agencies aren't enforcing a law, how in the world is that just going to be left to the different store owners, to the barbers, to the bakeries, whoever remember they're not wearing masks where they're eating. So that's become a big problem, and many people are opting to wear them, not because they think they should have to, but in order to keep the peace so we can all get back out and the economy can recover quicker. That seems to be a trend that's catching on. Remember, even the president tweeted a photo of himself in a mask, calling it patriotic over the last 24 hours.
There's no one more patriotic than him.
That's right.
Wendy, also like the Starbucks employee right here in San Diego that asked the woman to wear the mask, remember? And then got the GoFundMe of $100,000, people rallying behind it. Now that woman is suing him because she wants a cut of that money, which is a whole nother story.
Well, I know. I hope we talk about that on one of these segments, but that's a great example of how divisive the issue is. Would we ever have imagined a year ago that whether or not wearing a mask would be this kind of a political hot button issue that means so many other things? Many citizens, to answer your earlier question, are just saying, you know what, I'm just going to bring it and I'm going to wear it when I go to the store because it's easier than getting into this huge discussion or debate with other customers or without being served. I mean, who wants to stand in line for an hour in Trader Joe's and get in and not be served because you're not wearing a mask?
Absolutely.
You're not getting back in that line.
Before
So sometimes it's a very practical solution.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, what do you think is going to happen with this lawsuit?
Well, it's an interesting question, Shali, because the governor's order was never as stringent as like we had here in California or other places. The court may basically say, hey, you have to make an order that makes it absolutely clear what the cities are or are not allowed to do. And the cities, you have to obey the governor. That's what the attorney general is speculating on. But you know what, Shali? This is new territory. I don't even want to predict, but I hope you have me back on when they finally go through the court system.
Well, for sure, we're going to have you back on. Wendy Patrick, always good to see you. Thank you.
Thanks, Shali.